and an allergist immunologist. And I'm excited to let you know that my wife and I have a podcast out now called From Bench to Bedside. And it is a conversational podcast that really goes into the breadth and depth of different scientific and medical issues, especially as it pertains to current events with public health, whether it's infectious diseases, what's going on with HHS, research, and all that. So I'm here live streaming just to raise awareness about that. Also, I've got a book coming out called All About Allergies, Everything You Need to Know About Asthma, Food Allergies, Hay Fever, and More. It's a comprehensive overview of allergic disease and how to navigate your health to help you, to help a loved one, family, friend, to raise awareness about these issues. And even if you don't, you probably know somebody, but even if you don't, it's an opportunity to become better educated about it. Hello, Laura. Hello, everybody. Welcome. What causes to smell things that no one else has the ability to smell, like sweets and cedar? So are you saying that your smell is too good? Because that's hyperosmia. That's often not really well understood about why that happens. But there's also hyposmia, where you smell things that don't actually exist, like you're hallucinating, as an example. Hi, Jen. Good to see you over here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. If you just joined, I'm just so excited that YouTube is hosting in my podcast tab on this channel. You can check out our podcast From Bench to Bedside. You can also subscribe to the audio version, basically wherever you get your podcasts. And my wife and I go into detail about various conditions, current events related to public health and science and medicine. So we're really excited to be having this out there for you. And it goes more into the nuances of these different issues. So thank you for being here. Happy to take questions. And yeah, let me know. Thanks, Laura. Thank you so much. It's really great. Really great. I'm very excited, and great to have you here. So some folks may end up watching this after the live taping. So I just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for being here. You've watched the pilot so far, but watch the rest soon. I hope you enjoyed it. So let me know what you think. You can leave a comment, a review, share it with your friends and family. That would be greatly appreciated. So what would you all like to talk about? Let me know. I'll take a look at the comment section and we'll go from there. Autocorrect for loss. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tia. Hello, Ferry, Budapest, Hungary. Welcome. It's got to be what, like 8 hours ahead of me or so? So good morning to you. I do live streams. Now I'm checking out YouTube. Usually I'm on other platforms, but I think I'm going to be here a little bit more often. So my this stand's kind of like, I'm not going to take it off, so I'm not going to go 360, but thank you so much. I built this setup here. Oh, the URL for the RFK tracker. Oh, cool. Thank you. I want to take a look at that. If a kid has food allergies, do I repeat skin and blood testing every so often? Yes. Depends on the clinical situation, though. So, if we have like an infant or a toddler that has egg allergy or milk allergy, I'm going to check it more frequently than if somebody's, 25 years old and has a longstanding peanut allergy. Where am I from? I am from just outside of Chicago, Illinois. All pediatric issues go away when you become an adult. That's actually not true. Definitely not true. What other platforms am I on other than Facebook? I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Substack. Does egg allergy go away? So for children, more often than not, it does, but not always. Yes, because then they are adult issues. Oh, you're trying to wordsmith here. That's not helpful, but okay. What else would you like to talk about? Egg allergy is the most common food allergen in babies now. And how do you recognize it? So clinically, food allergies is you eat something and within a few minutes to an hour or so, you develop either itching, hives, swelling, problems breathing, vomiting, a combination of those symptoms, or a drop in blood pressure, which is known as anaphylactic shock, and that can be very concerning. These symptoms are reproducible, meaning every time you eat the food, even in small amounts, these types of symptoms can happen again and again and again. Oh, now that's a good joke there. Egg allergies, really? Are you yoking? That's a good one. That's a good pun. Do I know about asthma? Yes. My upcoming book, All About Allergies, which you can pre-order, it's available February 24th, but you can pre-order it. I have a whole chapter on asthma. If you have eczema, should you see an allergist? You can, or a dermatologist, either one. Will my book be selling in stores also? I think it will eventually. I don't know the full situation right now, but it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Powell's Books a Million, uh, Walmart, Target. So it's online at major retailers. Now in the stores themselves, I don't know yet. I'm not sure if it's official yet, but it's also being sold in other countries like Canada, I believe it'll be in Mexico, UK, Australia, Ukraine, several countries in South America. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to be translated into multiple languages. What chapters are going to traumatize you so you can skip them? I think the only like really bad story, I already read it out loud in the earlier live, which is, the anaphylaxis, that little bit. But otherwise, everything is pretty mellow. Asthma doesn't go away by working out. You either have asthma or you don't. It's an abnormal immune system response. Exercise can't train that out of the immune system. So you're not weak if you have asthma. The problem is your immune system is hypersensitive to the outside world and the immune system within the lungs. That leads to problems with coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, chest tightness, and or difficulty breathing. It's inflammation. It's mucus plugging the airways. It's smooth muscles that are contracting when they shouldn't. We call it bronchoconstriction or bronchospasm. Reactive airway disease and asthma are not technically the same. So eczema is the gateway to several diseases like food allergies, asthma, and allergic rhinitis. That's because the skin, when its barrier is disrupted, foreign substances can come into contact with your immune system and lead to inflammation called Th2, and that generates allergy antibodies called IgE. So those protein tags can latch on to food or pollen, et cetera, and then eventually subsequent exposure can lead to an allergic reaction. Could be mild or could be potentially life-threatening, depending on the situation. So yeah, for those who are just joining, we got over 100 people here. I'm Dr. Zachary Rubin. Thank you so much for joining. I have a book coming out called All About Allergies that's coming out February 24th, available for pre-order now. And my wife and I, you can see it on the YouTube channel. There's a playlist for podcasts. We just launched a podcast called From Bench to Bedside. No, IBS is a real thing, but we're learning still about said disease that's ongoing in terms of what's actually happening. It's a real phenomenon. There's not a link between chronic urticaria and gut motility, but that's a great question. But that could change as we learn more. COVID-19 typically doesn't make your sense of smell better. All right, have a good night, Jen. Thank you so much. Yes, I really appreciate it. You caught me live. Aw, thank you. Can allergies cause foggy head? Not the congestion, but as a side effect from allergies. So the thing is when your allergy is not well controlled, you may be itching, you may feel stuffy in your nose, you may be congested. And so sleeping at night can be difficult. So you end up having poor sleep quality, which makes you have a little bit of brain fog and fatigue. You're just not thinking quite clearly. It's not midnight. It's like 10:20 here. I'm actually going to hop off in about 5 minutes. My dogs are doing okay in the cold weather. They played in the snow yesterday, had a lot of fun. Everything's okay. Thank you for asking. What do I think is the impact of all the data sets and some of the institutions related to medical research being dismantled by my government for international research? It's bad. It's bad all around. The United States has been a global leader in science and medicine, and we just took 10 steps backwards for no reason other than the current administration is on a revenge tour for being voted out of office during the pandemic and for really messing things up in the beginning of the pandemic and then trying to gaslight people into thinking that it was somebody else's problem when in reality you got to look yourself in the mirror and see what's going on. And the people who are in power right now, it's embarrassing, totally embarrassing. I don't think they're planning past this date based on the substantive EOs and laws they put forward. I have no idea. I don't think you can really like look into anything at this point. There's so much lies going on right now. It's astounding. It is so hard to keep up. I've been trying to keep on top of it, and it's impossible. As my wife would say, they're flooding the zone. Executive orders are not laws. Remember that. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. But hey, Trump put out an executive order wanting to get the vaccine schedule changed. And so RFK Jr. just changed it off of nothing but bullshit. It's my pleasure, Nick. Thank you. I have a question. Can allergies get worse in late middle age? Yes. That's the short answer. Why? It depends on several factors, including what your exposures are. America seems so divided from a European perspective. It's sad, really a flawed political system with only two parties, media and politicians turning it into us versus them. So here's the thing. The United States government had a series of checks and balances between the three branches of government in terms of the executive, legislative, and the judicial. The problem is that in the age of social media, where you can easily persuade people by misleading statements and lies and just little bits of chipping away at the truth, it's turned into issues like culture wars, which is silly. And it's really sad to see that. The system worked for a while. Now it's not really working well because one political party has most branches of government and they're not playing by the usual rules. That's where this has become really problematic. And so actually the majority of the country, if you look at it in the polls, most people don't like what's going on, nor did we have a majority of people voting for the current president. So keep that in mind. I'm highly embarrassed by what's going on, and it's really sad to see what's happening. Like our science and medicine and research is really taking a hit right now. And I'm not afraid to speak up about this stuff. When it comes to public health and science and medicine, that's my expertise. Thanks, Eve. Thank you. Why do I think more people have been privy to believing pseudoscience lately, or is this illusory? So, in my opinion, in the age of social media and how fast the internet is going, and now AI is accelerating this, it's eh, the lot of the lies that come out and the misinformation that comes out. And I've studied this. I've done a lot of personal research into this issue, and I post all the time, right, for the past basically 6 years. Um, what the way the information comes out is playing into your personal cognitive biases. We are all susceptible to bias. If you say you're not, like, then you got to look at yourself in the mirror. You're already biased by even thinking that. We have a problem with confirmation bias, that we are always looking for information that's congruent with our beliefs, right? And if something is not congruent with your belief, even if it's the right story, people are more apt to reject it because they don't want to feel wrong, as an example. And there is a certain primal instinct that we want to all survive and thrive, and people are struggling right now. So when they hear a simple, confident answer for a problem that they're experiencing, it's easier to gravitate towards it. That's how basic propaganda works. How 38-year-old person knows starting getting allergies. So people can develop allergic diseases at any point in life. It's more common in children, but adults are getting it now as well. And it really depends on what we're talking about in terms of the allergen. But oftentimes it's just because we're having more exposure for longer periods, as an example. You are not alone in your frustrations. Are you concerned about being stopped at customs or border patrol if you fly internationally? Um, my I try not to think about those things. I want to be able to live my life and be helpful. Um, I always thought, should I shut up and just let it go and protect myself that way? And I look back to like what my grandfather would do. He was a World War II veteran and an outspoken advocate for people. He helped start a soup kitchen. Wonderful person, wonderful human being. And I feel like he would be disappointed in me if I had this platform and I didn't do anything. I have over 4 million followers on all my platforms, and we're building a community here on YouTube. And to say nothing when it comes to our home, to people in our nation who are being fed a bunch of lies, um, when I'm an expert in a lot of these things, I can't sit by and say no and pretend that nothing's happening. That's how I feel. So I will keep true to that. That being said, I am getting pretty tired, so I am going to head out. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you haven't pre-ordered my upcoming book, please consider that. And if you haven't seen the podcast yet, if you go to my podcast tab, my wife and I have this podcast called From Bench to Bedside. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Please check it out. Let me know what you think. Write in the comment section, share, subscribe to it. Love you all so much, and I hope